Hello. A very marvelous afternoon to one and all present here. Myself Dikshit Garg, and I'm the student of MSc Geography at HPU in Shimla. I am feeling extremely elated to have such an intellectual gathering in front of me in this event. And my topic for today is Women Issues, a Change in Ideology. But at the inception of my speech, I want to share an incident with you all. Last week, I witnessed a very horrific incident of domestic violence in my neighborhood. I've been to my balcony and I saw that a person was beating his wife like anything. They had a child, and that child was crying because his father was beating his mother very brutally. People gathered over there and they somehow refrained that violence, they objurgated him. At that particular time, I realized that the women on whom that violence was exercised, she was actually tolerating. She was completely silent on all those atrocities, on all those intimidation that were exercised on her. When people asked her to lodge a complaint against that coward in law enforcement, her silence manifested her denial. Her silence manifested her repugnance, that she was reluctant to inform to the law enforcement. At that particular time, I also realized the statement which was given by Shumalit Firestone in her book entitled The Dialectic of Sex, which was published in the year of 1970, that women are themselves responsible for their excruciated plight. They are themselves responsible for the intimidation, for the atrocities that are being exercised on them. If there is any protagonist in this society who can liberate women from all such atrocities, from all such intimidations, then that protagonist happens to be women herself, because she is efficient enough to protest against all such intimidations and protest against all the atrocities. We are talking about women empowerment, but this happens to be the zenith of this spectrum. But what about the other part of spectrum, which happens to be the nadir part of the spectrum, and that is the domestic violence against women. This year in January month, I've been to Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad, the 9th conclave of Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad, which was organized at MIT Pune in Maharashtra. Several eminent speakers were invited over there to give their viewpoints on several issues. There were a lot of topics over there, and one of the topic was curbing crime against women. And there were many speakers over there like Brinda Karat, Trupti Desai, and Nagma Murarji. The speech which I liked the most was of Trupti Desai. She actually shared her own experience. She's a social activist in Maharashtra. And she said that we have initiated a campaign called Taigiri. Under the rubric of Taigiri, we led a campaign. We orchestrate a crackdown on all those cowards who exercise violence against their wives. And then those cowards are handed over to the law enforcement. I think that such kind of initiatives, such kind of campaigns at grassroots level are very indispensable to refrain or to impose a moratorium on such kind of violences that are being exercised against women in our society. In fact, the National Crime Record Bureau has also published its report this year on 21st of October. Regarding 2017. From 2007 till 2017, the percentage of crime against women have increased. It has been escalated. Like in 2007, about 1,85,312 crimes were witnessed against women. But in the year of 2017, it got escalated and it reached to 3,38,954. And the proportion was extremely high in the states like Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, as well as in West Bengal. And there were several states where the crime rate was between 20,000 to 30,000, like in West Bengal, not in West Bengal, in Rajasthan, in Madhya Pradesh, as well as in Assam. In 21st century, intersectionality is trending a lot. Intersectionality is an interlocking system of power which exploit the marginalized section of society from all the sides on the basis of their weak points. And women are also considered as the marginalized section of society by the intersectionality, and they are being exploited on the basis of their economic class as well as the sex class. Basically, radical feminists have stated that there are two types of relations in society. One is relation of production and other is relation of reproduction. Relation of production is based on economic class and relation of reproduction is based on sex class. Talking about the relation of production, first of all, economic class, it constitutes of two spaces, that is private space as well as the public space. Private space happens to be a household and public space happens to be a workplace. But the lament is that women are subjected to exploitation in both the spaces. In private space, that is household, they are subjected to domestic violence, while in public space, that happens to be workplace, they are subjected to sexual violence, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, etc. And this is not at all good for our society. Apart from that, as far as sex class is concerned, sex happens to be a biological phenomena. It is a difference basically which has been created by nature. Unfortunately, this natural phenomena of sex has been socialized and it has been made gender. And gender is a societal fabrication. Sex is a difference while gender is a disparity. And difference becomes disparity when we associate discrimination with that difference, as a result of which gender is a disparity, and it is because of this disparity that society has been divided into oppositional pairs of boy and girl, male and female, men and women, etc. Basically, the problem is yes sir, I'm remembering. Basically, if we basically there is an utmost need to create egalitarian values. In the year of 1960, when feminism was established in the Occidental world, it was established as a transformational politics. It was established with an aim to emancipate women from all the atrocities that were being exercised on them, or in order to liberate them from the pugnacious patriarchal control, and to create a society in which both men and women are given equal rights. The discrimination is not exercised against women, and the equal possessions, equal rights are given to both men and women. And it is true that the contributions of women are quite sumptuous for society, and they have also contributed a lot for the national aggrandizement. If we take example of Indira Gandhi, we take example of C.B. Muthama, who was the first women ambassador of India. If we take the example of Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, she was the first president of United Nations Secretary. She was the first president of the United Nations General Assembly, first women president actually, in the year of 1951. Apart from that, Sucheta Kripalani, she was the first women chief minister of an Indian state of Uttar Pradesh from 1963 to 1967. And if we take an example of Pakistan, there was Benazir Bhutto. And I want to tell you something about Benazir Bhutto, that she was the only prime minister in Pakistan who had an audacity to stand against the pugnacious policies of the Pakistani military. From 1988 to 1990, she was appointed as the first women prime minister of Pakistan. And the president of Pakistan, like Ghulam Ishaq Khan, then army chief General Mirza Aslam Beg, and as well as the chief of ISI, Hamid Gul, they all were afraid of her because they knew that she would bring a revolution in society. And it was because of this reason that in the year of 2007, she was assassinated by the militants of Taliban, because they were also afraid that she would lead a crackdown on their safe havens. At the conclusion of this speech, I want to state that there must be a change in ideology. In this polychromatic world, there is hybridization of culture. People are interacting with each other. There is exchange of ideas, and they are becoming aware of new things. And the credit goes to liberal education, basically, because it is this liberal education that has brought a change in ideology. We often ask women, I often hear that there are several conservative people who draw comments on the dressing sense of women, that women should not wear these kind of clothes, they should not dress themselves in the Western attire. I strictly contradict such kind of statements. They basically ask women to change their dressing sense, but I ask these people to change their own ideology, to change their own perception, to bring an attitudinal change in themselves. It is because of this reason that the sex ratio in Haryana is very less, because people, at the end I would like to conclude by by enclosing the self-composed quotation of myself, that is, knowledge when combined with thoughts and experiences, it forms a new ideology. Then this ideology must be translated into physical reality. Once this ideology is translated into physical reality, it holds a robust potential of getting a revolution in society. एंड और रुखसती से पहले, जैसा कि जनाब आपने कहा था कि जो मगरिब के जितने भी ये मुल्क हैं, यहाँ पर काफ़ी हद तक जो ख़वातीन हैं वो तनहा हो चुकी है। मेरे ख्याल में मुझे लगता है कि जो ये आलमगिरियात है, इसका तकाजा काफ़ी हद तक हिंदुस्तान पर भी बढ़ेगा, क्योंकि सर जैसे कभी किसी दौर में यहाँ पर एक्सटेंडेड फैमिली सिस्टम था, उसके बाद फिर यहाँ पर जॉइंट फैमिली सिस्टम आया, उसके बाद फिर न्यूक्लियर फैमिली सिस्टम, अब मुझे लगता है कि यहाँ पर अडल्ट डायटिक फैमिली सिस्टम आ चुका है, जिसमें शौहर और बीवी एक साथ रह रहे हैं और वो बिल्कुल भी औलाद नहीं चाहते हैं। तो सर मुझे लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं शायद ये जो दौर है ये हिंदुस्तान में भी आएगा मुस्तकबिल में से। तो इतना ही मैं कहना चाहूँगा। शुक्रिया आपका बहुत बहुत। Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That is domestic violence,
Yes, ma'am.
sexual harassment,
Yes, ma'am.
and everything.
Yes, ma'am.
And concluded with that we need to change our ideology.
Yes, ma'am.
What else can be the issue to check this type of problem? What else do you think that there should be other thing to check this problem?
So, ma'am, first of all, I think that the ignorance of people should be actually curtailed, because ma'am, people actually ignore such kind of events when it happens. When I was when I stated about that incident that occurred in my neighborhood, there were a lot of people who were actually ignoring it. They were stating that it is a personal matter of that person and we should not intervene into it.
That can be, that is for the years together, patriarchal mindset.
Yes, ma'am.
So it will take decades to change.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
But what else do you think, despite these things, that is the gender disparity,
Yes, ma'am.
patriarchal mindset, what should women do?
Ma'am, basically we have a lot of examples, as recently Avni Chaturvedi, she was the first women fighter pilot of India. Women need to take initiative themselves.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. That's all I need to say. Yes, sir.
Talk of change in ideology.
Yes, sir.
Now, my question is it ideology that creates social conditions and infrastructure, or is it the other way around? That ideology comes out of infrastructure.
Sir, yes, sir.
My point is, unless you change infrastructure, change in ideology can only be superficial.
Yes, sir, definitely, sir. As I quoted that this is a polychromatic world and there is hybridization.